If I can find you, so can the Jedi.
We'll explain what Soul did. They'll have to...
Even after everything, you put your faith in the Jedi. I'll show when they find out how powerful you are.
You will meet the same fate as our mother. What do we do? What do you want, Ocean? Let my sister go, and I will train with you. Are you sure? The Jedi will use me to find you.
I can attempt to wipe her memory. Remove any trace of you or me. Permanently.
Do it. Quickly. I can't lose you again. You're not. You're going to do what you were meant to do. And I won't stop you this time.
When Disney Plus puts out a brand new Star Wars TV show, I'll watch and podcast about every episode. As you know, when they release, I'll have a brand new episode that same night, talking Acolyte. Hello, all my Star Wars friends. Hope that Star Wars never ends. Am I singing that right? But I know we're done tonight with season 1 of Acolyte. I don't know what I'm doing here. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars fans, boys and girls, I didn't even get that in the right order. Welcome back to the season finale of Acolyte tonight, presented by The Mandalorian Man. Season finale, right? Doesn't seem like it's the series finale. At least they're leaving us thinking they plan on coming back. Whether Disney and Lucasfilm says, yes, you're coming back, but they're the ones who put it out, right? So it's like, why would they do this? It's almost like if Disney and Lucasfilm at this point, because it's not like they put the whole season out at once. You know, they see the numbers, they see the views. So you'd think that the finale, I don't know how these things work. Like they're giving them this show, they see the finale and they're like, all right, this is leading us to a season 2. But I guess it doesn't guarantee you a season 2. You know, it's not like they'd say, okay, you need to have 2 options. Have one where it's the end of the series or have one where it is the end of the season. And I guess you could say that the ending could be seen as just the end and we kind of fill in the blanks of what happens from there. But to me, it seems like they're doing they're setting things up for a season 2. So I'm going to say right now we will get a season 2 of The Acolyte. And maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe they'll continue more. I'm not sure. I know that of the stars that I thought we were following on the show, none of them are here. They were here in flashback. Maybe we'll see them in flashbacks again. But the The ones I was aware of are all dead. Spoiler alert. You watched the episode, right? I'm going to go through the episode, but that ending, kind of, right? I mean, that final shot, um, the shirt, it doesn't quite um, represent that, but it doesn't quite not represent that. That final shot teased us. I kept saying, give it to me, give it to me. To, you know, if if we had like an apartment with neighbors, they'd be like, what's going on in there? I keep yelling, give it to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Um, no, I kept saying, give me Yoda. I want Yoda. Um, I was saying that to my wife, who was asleep. This was the only episode that I watched on my television. Usually I'm watching it on my laptop or on my computer, on my monitor on my desk, or on my laptop on the couch. And today, about 9 o'clock, I said, "Do you care if I put on some Star Wars in here?" I don't say the Acolyte. She has no idea what that is. She's like, "Sure, but not too loud." I'm like, "What are you crazy? It's Star Wars. I want to hear banging and smashing and." But I did put the closed captioned on, and I it was loud enough, and it was on our bedroom TV, which is the larger of the two TVs. So this is the biggest I've ever seen the Acolyte. I mean, it's not some giant TV, but it's bigger than my computer monitor. And no notes, no like pausing it, just watched it all the way through. And I'm talking like she's paying attention. Even when I hear her snoring, I'm still talking to her about the show. Like, we gotta get Yoda. Here comes Yoda. Oh, that what was this? Oh, that was cool. Oh, that's dumb. Oh, what's going on here? Like, I just was having the full gambit because I was picturing that she was watching it, and I'm trying to explain things and make excuses for why I'm watching this. Uh, um, but she could care less, and she was asleep. So it was just me talking to myself, and which is kind of what's happening right now. Even though hopefully, eventually, someone will see this or hear this. At this moment, it's just me talking to myself. So let's start talk. Let's talk about this episode. I said the ending that excited me. That got me. The way they showed it, it tells me that maybe we'll see more of Yoda if there's a season two or when there's a season two, because he's introduced as a character. He didn't come in for one moment to give one speech. I thought maybe he'd be at a trial, he'd be at a tribunal. Is that also a trial? Or maybe they talk to him. I don't even know if Frank Oz does the voice. Did he do? He did the voice for Rise of Skywalker, right? But I mean, nowadays they can get a sound alike. They could do the Darth Vader thing where they make an AI version of Frank Oz. I don't know if that would work. Um, but we did see him. We know Yoda's old. He's young. This is the youngest we've ever seen him. He's almost like a baby Yoda. But we just saw the back of his head. I mean, I guess it could be another. Uh, is it Yodel? Yordle? Yokel? I don't remember. There's the female Yoda. Remember how bad the puppets were in the Phantom Menace? I just remember like it looked like Yoda had dead eyes, and then they did the CGI, and I was like, I as much as I want practical effects, the CGI was so much better. Um, what am I talking about? Okay, so we got that ending, but let's go back to the beginning. We saw last week was a complete flashback, and really it just made the Jedi look like overbearing villains. And now we pick up with Osha still hanging out with the stranger. We'll call him that, the Sith, um, who is the coolest part of the show. I mean, he every time you see him, he looks cool. When he doesn't have the helmet on, he looks like a chilled, kind of relaxed guy. When he puts the helmet on, he's like jacked, and I'm ready to root for him, even though he's the bad guy. So that was he's very cool. So we pick up with him seeing Osha wearing the helmet, but something, and it's the sensory deprivation, right? So that um, can accentuate your powers. Well, she is a witch, and she comes from the witches of the witch planet. Which planet is that? It's the witch planet. Boom, nailed it. And so her powers allowed her to see the future, but also trap him in kind of the glassy black-eyed piece that Baratheon from last time with the bad hairline. Remember, her mother trapped him and could speak to him, and he was like in some sort of void. Same thing happened to Sith Man when he got too close to her, but that passed pretty quick. She took the helmet off, and she said she saw a vision of May killing um, Soul without the use of a saber. I don't like that she called it saber. I want her to call it lightsaber. Didn't There's probably many places where they call it just a saber. By the way, I am reading a Star Wars book right now from Kevin J. Anderson, Dark Saber. I got on a Kevin J. Anderson kick for this series of uh, zombie detective novels that are a lot of fun. I first discovered him going to the library and getting a Batman uh, and Superman book that's set during like the 50s Cold War, and I loved it. So it made me jump into reading a bunch of his other things. And at some point, I bought Dark Saber, and it's been on my Kindle for a while. And I said, you know what? It's time. I'm in a Star Wars state of mind. And speaking of Star Wars state of mind, look at this. Look at that. A little Grogu coffee cup filled with, strawberry seltzer water. Yum, 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 yum. Should be blue milk, I know. So, um, reading the Dark Saber right now. I'm like 90 pages into that. Anyway, okay. Um, she says she sees May killing Soul without the use of a saber, and the Sith's like, I see. She figured out how to kill him without using a weapon. She can do it. So she's like, that's the future, but it might not be exact. It doesn't mean it definitely happens. Well, it doesn't definitely happen because we know that she's the one who kills Saul without the use of a lightsaber. Or that made me angry when that happened. It's like, I don't know who's good or bad here because this Jedi last week were definitely seen as overstepping and covering up something horrible they did. And I'm still not sure I understand Saul's motivation at all, who he was saving them from. Even they were like, from who? And I was like, yeah, I actually said, yeah, from who? What's going on here? But we're getting ahead of ourselves. So uh, they're like, listen, we got to go find May. We got to figure out where she is. And they're together. They're like, well, if you're going, I'm going. If I'm going, you're going. But he's also like, would you want to train with me? She's like, nope, I don't want to do that. I'm not my sister. I'm not going to, join you. I'm not going to join the dark side, basically. Famous last words. We do see May, the aftermath of Soul telling May the story, the truth of everything that happened. This was one of my least favorite scenes in the episode. She's like, you started the fire. She's like, yeah, but I didn't kill everyone. But you locked everyone in. She's like, yeah, well, you broke into my house. Meanwhile, she's got the little Pip dude, and she's like, secretly, these Jedi, they're supposed to be like they could read minds, but they can't figure out that you're picking a lock right next to them. She picks this lock, gets away from him, and it's like she doesn't try to kill him. She just tries to escape. She gets to an escape pod. She actually says, the escape pod, like to no one. It's not, I felt like I was watching like a cartoon. And then she gets in, turns around and looks at him and says, I'll see you in hell. It's like, wait, won't, was that a line back to Han Solo? Is that a callback? Didn't he say that? Am I crazy? But she said, I'll see you in hell, and leaves. And he's like, not so fast. And then he goes to chase her. Now, I thought this chase was pretty awesome through that asteroid belt, through that whatever it was. It looked great. I quite enjoyed that. It's something I don't remember ever seeing before. But then he's about to lock onto her. Now, is he going to shoot her out of the sky? Is he going to kill her? Is he going to track her? I don't know. It seemed like the way they were setting it up that he was going to blast her right out of the sky. But then that little hedgehog looking dude, Basil, shows up. He's the one who was like, you're not, Ocha, you're May. This is how I assume if he spoke basic, not English, but basic. Oh, and then he's like, I'm gonna tell you, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. But then he changes his mind. A lot of mind changing in these shows. He's like, wait a minute, don't kill her. And he pulls out the exact wire that allows him to not shoot her. But she takes on enough damage that, oh, they're heading back to Brendock, heading back to the home planet that where the witches were. Witch planet? Boom. Um, so she what I do like is I also, the astro belt, but I also liked seeing her land. There were some cool shots of her in the escape pod where the background's moving, but she's not. That was kind of cool. And her just kind of crash landing on the planet. I thought that was a cool just visual. I don't think I felt like she did look like a kid wearing like an adult's helmet. When she put the helmet on, it just looked way too big on her head. But okay, that's fine. Uh, so she crashes. Later, we find out Saul also lands. We jump back to Coruscant, and we get Turtle Lady, who I want to say is Valestra, whatever. And um, I'm not sure if this woman, I have seen her in something. I saw her in Werewolves Within. I was like, what? Have I ever seen her in anything? And I don't remember thinking this then, but at least with this, I do not like her performance as and she just kind of very stiff and very much. And I don't know if this is how the character is supposed to be. I guess it is. I felt like this character has been in Rebels, right? I don't know. Um, I just wasn't a fan of her reading the lines. She looks cool. And we find out later that her apprentice, her Padawan, is the Sith dude. So that kind of sets that whole thing up because we see her going, you, and oh no, it's him. And of course, she doesn't sense him like 20 feet away and she looks up and he's gone. But she, they don't, you think they make the Jedi look bad. They lean into it even more, or at least with her, they lean into it more because she's afraid of kind of the Jedi losing power, I think, because we see her meet up with a senator. So first she meets up with her, I don't know, one of her knights, the nerdy looking dude he's got a wonderful head of hair, but um, he's like, you want to see the senator? Boom, goes down. It's friggin' Martian Manhunter from Supergirl. Is his name David? It's not David Harbour. That's Stranger Things guy, Hellboy. It's David something or other. But well, I think I saw him. It was some show on Showtime. I can't even remember with the girl from My So-Called Life. I can't remember names tonight. But and the guy from Billions. Boom, I'm losing it. But I know him mostly as John Jones, the Martian Manhunter on Smallville. So he's no stranger to space and wearing robes. He comes in and he is very much like, look, I don't like the Jedi. I think there should be an investigation. You and your religion. Now remember that stuff goes all the way back to A New Hope, where the people in the Empire were like joking to Vader's like, you and your silly religion. He's like, oh yeah, choke you to death, bam. So this kind of stuff has been happening forever. Well, it's been happening forever for all kinds of religions, really. So why would the Jedi be any different? Um, and but he says something about he didn't believe, and she's like, the Force? He goes, no, not the Force. It's your power and your power or your lack of emotion. He said something like the way what they do, they don't believe. And then he kind of scoffs. He's like, I want to investigate and I want to have, but a full investigation looking into the Jedi and what they think they do and blah blah blah. But he does like, and good luck. Or isn't it may the Force be with you. Oh, and he knows about a murder investigation. Why haven't the council been told? And she's like, well, I'm trying to keep it insular. I'm trying to keep it in for the murders. He's like, multiple murders. So she's going to get a bunch of nerdy looking Jedi Knights. They're going to head to, they're going to track Saul because he flipped his tracking switch back on. So everyone's going to the B planet. I don't know, including Sith and Osha. They're flying off together now. When they leave, all of a sudden, and I said this to my wife again, she was sleeping. I go, what are they introducing? Who is this character that we see out of nowhere? We see this little hand and we see this big, like, long head come out with glowing eyes. And I had no idea. My first thought was, is it the same guy we see years later that's half robot with his heart hanging out and Obi-Wan Kenobi fights him and I want to say Attack of the Clones. But I did see trending Plagueis, and I've been whenever I talk to my friend about this show, I always say, have I ever told you about Dark Plagueis the Wise? And again, I don't even know if that's the right line, but apparently that's Plagueis that we saw. If okay, full disclosure, I saw it on Twitter because I typed in Yoda on Twitter, and that was the first thing that popped up. So I'm like, oh, is that who that is? Then I clicked on him and looked him up on the Wikipedia. By the way, Wikipedia is calling this episode The Acolyte. Disney Plus at this point still hasn't changed when I'm watching it, still hasn't changed the title, but they're calling the episode 8 of The Acolyte, The Acolyte. So that's what I'm going with. So Darth Plagueis, he's the one who who figured out how to cheat death, right? So that's, I guess, why he's been brought in. Or he's introduced. Now maybe he's okay. The Sith guy that we know, we find out he was trained by Turtle Lady. We figured that out. But he's always talking about another way, another way. So maybe here on whatever planet he was on is where he's being taught by Darth Plagueis the Wise. I don't know. I am coming at it with just a general nerdy level, a light level of knowledge for these things. And I want to give a shout out to someone who says something really nice on Twitter the other day. Jimmy of Behor or Bajor at Vampire D's, as it, well, you know what, as in D's, Deez, at Vampire D's on Twitter. He wrote, and I quote, "This, what you're watching or listening to right now, this is the best Star Wars podcast because, as it says on the tin, which sounds cool, and I'm going to use that all the time, he's a fan, not an expert. That's right. Mike honestly breaks down everything without the angry talking points that's going around this week. It's refreshing to listen to someone just following the show. That's me. That's my thing. I couldn't get angry about this stuff. It's Star Wars. We're getting Star Wars. Do I like everything I'm seeing? No. Do I hate everything I'm seeing? No. I'm enjoying the ride. Okay, so, and where was the ride where we last left off? Oh, yes. So everyone's heading to the same planet. And Turtle Lady's like talking to someone. She's like, do I have to get him involved? Oh, I don't want to let him know, but maybe I should let him know. Something like that. And I'm thinking, oh, that's what I'm thinking. Give me Yoda. Yoda. It's got to be Yoda. I was going to sing a Yoda song. I couldn't think of one. Yoda, Yoda. So, because this is 100 years before Star Wars, nothing else, no other character would really, as far as the end stinger, would resonate like Yoda, because we know he's alive. He's like 1,000,000 years old. And yeah, well, we get this Plagueis guy, and but I was like, who is that? I don't know who's that. Who's that? Darth. He looks like Darth Potato Head Man. I couldn't tell in the darkness. He just had glowing eyes. I was like, who is this guy? I don't know. And now I'm like, oh, it's Darth Plagueis the Wise. But Yoda at the end, seeing those ears, that resonated. Those ears, these beautiful ears. So that's why I was very excited in the whole episode. I kept saying, give me Yoda, bring me Yoda. I must see Yoda. So they all end up together on Brendock, and thankfully through the uh, power of television storytelling, they get there at almost the same time. Uh, OSHA's there. Well, no, May's there. Uh, Saul's now there, and the turtle lady's heading there with uh, her Jedi nerds, and now OSHA is showing up. I was getting confused because May was with Sith guy. Now OSHA's with Sith guy. They changed their outfits. So I was trying not to lose track, but OSHA is with the Sith guy. They land there at the same time and they're all heading back to the palace. So we get a lot of like, remember this? Oh my goodness. Remember this from 7 weeks ago or from last week for us? Also, some of the things like we're getting flashbacks and it's just like they get to see their old bedroom and they get to see their old like spot where Saul killed their mom. But this does lead to Osha and May meeting up, a little bit of a fight, but May is like trying to say, look, the Jedi lied to you. Saul lied to you. Everybody lied to you. He killed our mother. Yes, I started the fire, but I didn't kill all these Jedi. The fire didn't kill anybody. The Jedi killed them all. Um, and she's like, you gotta believe me. She didn't say that, but I know they were together and I don't remember why they ended up. Oh, they were fighting. And at the same time, I do like an pretty great lightsaber battle between Sith and Jedi with some just cool slow motion. The effects looked great. I like the pacing. I like the sword chopping, and I like that we jump between them and the sisters fighting. Well, the Osha and May fighting. And oh, that was the big thing also. Soul's like, you're not sisters. You are. Oh, and then she stabs him with Pip. And it's like, oh, I've been shocked. Oh, no. The classic TV of, I'm just about to tell you. So that didn't happen. But all I'm thinking the whole time is they're clones. They're clones. There's a clone. One of them's a clone. And when they were fighting, I was like, oh my God, it's the attack of the clones. So they're fighting each other. The Jedi are fighting each other. I don't remember. Maybe May. At one point, May takes off. She's like, "You will believe me," and um, the Jedi does outfight the Sith, which was pretty cool. Except now he's outnumbered because uh, May shows up or Osha shows up. No, it's May shows up. She takes the lightsaber. Boom, takes it away from him. And then she's like, why don't you just admit it? Why don't you admit it? And then we see May walking up behind him. Osha walking up. He's like, yes, I killed your mother. I'm sorry. She's like, is it real? And then boom, Osha kills him. Now, here's what I don't understand. So they show the lightsaber, and I'm sorry, I don't know these things. Here's what I think I know. Lightsabers are created using kyber crystals. Okay. Is it the color of the lightsaber based on the crystal, or is it like a mood ring? Like it can use your emotion to create the color because we see inside the lightsaber. Now, first I thought it was cracked, but that was wrong. But when Osha picks it up off the ground, because May just throws it away. Osha picks it up, and we see red getting into it. Now, that wasn't blood, right? Was that like evil midichlorians? Like, what was that? Then she lit the lightsaber, and it changed from like light blue to red. And it's like, now I am a Sith. Oh, but that's after she killed Saul. He's just dead. Again, one the May and Osha, those are the stars of the show. Those are the main characters. It's been established since the first episode. Those are the main characters. I just thought that these Jedi that we were going to have were also main characters. But it seems like going forward, because I assume we're going to be going forward, it's the two of them, it's the Sith, it's the Turtle Lady, maybe Darth Plagueis the Wise, and maybe a little Yoda. I don't know. But we also got the Senator, Senator Jean Jones. Is he going to be back in this? So she kills Saul. She pulls the weapon on him, and she does not like that. Um, that the lightsaber turned red. She seems a little freaked out, but she doesn't kill Sith Man. Instead, they just leave. They run off because the Jedi are going to be there, and they're like, "The Jedi are coming. We need to escape." So May's like, "I'll show you the exact escape route I used as a kid." They escape off into the woods. The Jedi show up. Now, while the Jedi are there, it's almost like the Turtle Woman is looking around and she's like sensing all the things that happen because we're getting audio flashbacks of what is happening around her, but she doesn't see that her old Padawan is right up there. He's looking down, and he's my favorite part of this whole show, and his look, everything, the actor, all of it. Um, she looks up and he's gone. But we do see her now. I thought she went over and gave Saul a little kiss. I was like, oh, maybe there's something there I didn't know about. But it said we found out she whispers something to him. This, she bothers me. Oh, she bothers me. Um, so Saul's dead. All four Jedi are dead. But Osha killed the fourth one. So I guess, I don't know. All I know is the Jedi are searching. They don't get anywhere. They're like, fan out. They are completely 100% useless in this. They don't do a thing. So Osha and May get it back to the same tree that they were at before. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I left you. I'm sorry all these things. I'm sorry this. I'm sorry that. Blah, 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 blah. But she still was like, was she maybe was she still upset about those murders? I don't know. I think they were all just like, I am one of one, and two of two. Sith guy comes back. He's got his helmet on. He's like, you got to get out of here. They're still going to come after you. And she's like, no. And I don't understand why they didn't just all leave together. I don't know. But the plan, okay, let me see if I figure this out. He said, well, you can go and I'll train with him. Maybe May didn't want to trade with him anymore, but Osha did. But why didn't they just all leave three of them? Instead, they said, okay, how about this? We'll erase your memory. The Jedi. I have to admit, it confused me a little bit. I thought they were going to leave her behind and then claim that she's Osha. So the Jedi show up. Osha leaves with Sith Man. The Jedi, they must go back to the planet and maybe they hang out with Darth Plagueis the Wise. So they leave, they get away. Actually, I'm sorry, we don't. Well, no, we do see them get away. And May goes back with the Jedi back to Coruscant. I'm not entirely sure why. So she gets brought into the Turtle Lady's, office, and she's like, "Do you know? Can you tell me what happened?" She goes, "I guess I killed some people." So already, they're May. They know it's May. They know she killed someone. She's like, "I don't remember. Why did she turn herself in?" And they wiped her memory. Like, I'm literally confused as why they did that instead of just all of them leaving. Did I miss something where she says I need to face up for my crimes? But then why wipe her memory so that she can't betray Osha? I guess. I get that. Okay, why don't we wipe your memory so that you won't betray her? Why don't they just all leave? I'm so confused why they didn't just all leave together. It seems like they did this so that now Turtle Lady can say, I believe she is with one of my former student. He was my student before he turned to the dark side, before he turned evil. And you need to help us find them, I guess. But here's the true villainy to me is everything that happened with the Jedi happened. They think they were they think they were doing the right thing. Saul thinks he was doing the right thing at the time. He um but he kept saying, I needed to get you away. I needed to get you away. Why? So his whole thing was like, it was dangerous because you're not sisters. You're the same person. What? The virgins allowed you to create life. Okay. But why does that make them the same person? There was no explanation there. Because aren't twins like essentially like aren't they the same egg and then it breaks off? So what's the difference? I don't know. Was one created and then one cloned? Or did they it was like a 3D printer where you have the specs and you're like, let's make one. Let's make another one. Okay, let's stop at two. Like what was it that? I don't understand the I'll get okay. The fact that um someone could create life with the force, I get the Jedi would be concerned with someone having that much force power. And they're like, well, you killed my mother, so there you go. But why not talk to them about it instead of like saying we're going to take your kids and then I'm going to stab you with my light sword? Like it seems like the leaps that were taken to get from point A to point B weren't realistic, but they happened for the sake of the show, I guess. Um, I just don't know what Soul's reasoning was, why he had to tell them that you're both sisters. Like, and they said, why didn't you tell her? Why didn't you tell Osha? Well, I wanted her to have a great life. Look how much of a great life I gave you. It's like, what? All that sounded like just excuse after excuse after excuse. This was, I mean, in the long run, this show is pretty anti-Jedi. Again, who cares? Jedi are fake. Who gives a crap? But, but it seems like this season, this episode, this specific show, because there are plenty of shows where the Jedi are awesome, right? Aren't there? I mean, well, in the original series, we only really know two Jedi. We only know one for a while in the original season. In the prequels, we got a bunch of Jedi. One of them turns, pretty bad, fairly bad. The others are all killed. Well, that's not good. Um, but we get Rey. She's pretty badass. Kylo Ren, he didn't turn out so well. Look, there's a lot of things. The Jedi can go one of two ways. Sometimes we get good, sometimes we get the bad. You take them both, and there you have the facts of life. That's just the way it is. Um, but in this season, on this show, in this specific timeline, we're seeing a dark mark, Harry Potter, uh, right? We're seeing a dark mark in the history, hundreds of years of the Jedi pushing their power too much and then covering it up. Because, okay, yes, Saul lied for years, and he was like, May's like, you need to go and you need to be, I'm not going to kill you. I want you to be tried. I want you to tell the truth. I want everything to come out. But instead, he dies, and the secret dies with him because Valestra, Turtle Lady, she's covering it up, I guess, because she doesn't want the Jedi to be investigated by the government, even though Martian Manhunter at the end's like, I'm going to investigate the Jedi. But she also, I think, she kind of spearheaded this whole thing. She sent Saul to start this whole thing. And all these Jedi died because of what she approved. And she knew about the cover up, didn't she? The only way she would be able to cover it up is if she knew the truth. So she must have known the truth at some point, but I don't know exactly when that point was. But she blamed the whole thing on Saul, said that he turned evil. He killed all the Jedi. Then he killed himself. And we saw she gave him a Viking funeral, lit him on fire. Again, that body could have just floated away and they could find it. But okay. They're not going to go there to look. Um, so she covered everything up to for the betterment of the Jedi, I guess. But she seeks counsel, and at the very end, she walks in, and we see the back of Yoda's head. Back of my head, you see. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was a terrible idea. So we see that. We see Osha and the Sith, and they're really dramatic staring at waves. That was weird, but it was also kind of cool. Then they held hands. So, and the waves smashed like I thought it was gonna like smash over them like Aquaman. So the season ends. The Acolyte's done. Let's try to think where we are now. Okay, those Jedi are dead. They don't matter anymore to our story. They did made some terrible decisions, and they get what they get. Turtle Lady's covering it all up, but she's looking to Yoda, and May's going to help them try to. Maybe they're going to try to fix her memory to go back and try to find her former student, which is the Sith, who now maybe is the student of Darth Plagueis the Wise, and now he's uh, um, taken on Osha as his apprentice, his acolyte. What am I saying? And that's where our season ends. So the question is, are we going to get a second season? I assume yes. And what are we going to see in that second season? Like now, May and Osha switch places. May has no memory, so she's going to be helpful to the Jedi. And obviously, her having no memory is why Turtle Lady covered everything up because she could and blame everything on Saul. Even though May probably wouldn't have any full knowledge of it. Well, I guess well, no, she would because Soul told her. So she's going to be good now. And then Osha is going to be evil, working with the Sith and maybe Death Plagueis the Wise. And I apologize if this review is all over the place because it is now 12:29 a.m. When I started talking to you, it was probably about 10ish, a little after 10 or so. I multiple breaks to take my dog out. She got a third wind. She didn't walk earlier today. We had thunderstorms. It's been 96 degrees. It's too much. So all of a sudden at night she gets this little burst of energy, and I thought I took care of it the first time. Um, but if you didn't notice, then great, seamless, perfect editing. Um, but the second season, all our Jedi are dead. We have to deal with Turtle Lady, maybe Yoda, probably not. That's probably just a tease. I don't know. It's like, did it set up enough that I even want to know? Okay, now Osha's gonna go train and be evil, and then now May's gonna look for her, and it's like we're switching sides, and now May's gonna try to get Osha to come back to be good. It just seems like the reverse of what the first season kind of was. So it can't really just be that. We just need. I wanted Osha to totally buy in. I think she did. She wants to continue training, but it's almost like she did it. She didn't, it wasn't like she was doing it to be evil. It was like she was doing it to spite the Jedi because she's against the Jedi, which in this show doesn't necessarily make her evil, does it? But it is the dark side. And the Sith will say they're not evil. They just, you know, let their emotions and their, dictate them. They don't hide them, and they like to tap into the dark side of the Force. So maybe she'll just end up working for the government, and eventually, well, it's not the Empire until you know, Palpatine and is yelling at all the aliens and ET and everything, and he gets his unlimited power. Um, so I'm not sure what the second season could be, but they did leave us little breadcrumbs of here's where Osha goes, here's where May goes, and we got that, that Plagueis fella and Yoda. those could have just been little like, oh, he was working for him, and that's it, and we never see it again. And if that happens, I mean, I I wouldn't be like, oh no, we didn't get to see where the story went. I wouldn't be completely devastated. I mean, let's see, it's a TV show. I wouldn't be completely devastated about any of it. But it wouldn't be like, oh no, we never got to see the ending. It would be like, oh, well, it was what it was. So that was the complete story with little, little teases and little Easter eggs. If I was to rank these shows, and it's again, I don't want to be like, um, you know, like negative, and it's not even, you know, I don't think any Star Wars show I loved everything about it, unless you're The Mandalorian and Andor, and those are my top two, I think. So what do we got? Mandalorian, Andor, um, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and Boba Fett are like right there. Boba Fett was like a Mandalorian, 2.5 or something like that, or 1.5. I forget what season it was, but it felt like part of the Mandalorian season. Uh, but I think I did like Ahsoka more than this. And just because I'm saying it's probably ranks as my least favorite of the Star Wars live action shows, I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. No, none of that. That's silly. It was Star Wars. We got to see Star Wars. I'm always game to see some live action Star Wars stuff. Should get more into the animated stuff. Um, there were definitely things I liked about this season or this series. Uh, I like 95% of the cast. 99% of the cast. The turtle lady, and again, maybe it's just her Valestra. It was her delivery. I just didn't her look. She looked cool. I wasn't totally into her delivery. I thought the woman who played Osha and May, thought the kids who played Osha and May were good. I thought the witches, the chanting was kind of like was I chuckled at that. But the characters were cool and everything. I didn't like never bothered me the witches. What bothers me is that Soul completely was like, one of them has a mark, the other one doesn't. This is dangerous. Wait, no, no, they're the same person, and they use the virgins. This is dangerous. It's like, what? I felt like I didn't love the Jedi modification, the Jedi there. The I lost the word. Whatever. I didn't like their reasoning behind why Saul did what he did. Why he felt like he needed to. Motivation. I knew that began with an M. Uh, I wasn't crazy about that. It just didn't seem, that seemed a little flimsy to me. And I'm still not sure why they had to separate May and Osha. Oh, they're like, wait, they can't find out if we're the same person. Oh no, Soul said that they would study you and send you away. But okay, he's dead now. Nobody knows that the Virgins made these two women as the same person. Um, Osha May Osha. I was trying to think where could you put the words together. No, I just thought of that now, and it was a terrible idea. Nobody knows this except maybe Turtle Lady, who covered up the whole thing anyway. So I'm not sure why May went. I'm not sure. Maybe I'd have to watch it again. I'm not sure I'm going to do that either. But I'm not sure why they did the whole thing where May erased her memory and then didn't go with him. That is that one was lost on me as well. But it's over, and I am done talking Star Wars for a little while. I'm not done thinking Star Wars, as I'm going to go back and I'm going to be reading the Dark Saber probably for another week or so. I'm not a very fast reader. I was reading some of the Star Wars Marvel comics in the Amazon Comixology Unlimited, but I only did a free month of that. I'm a DC guy, so I pay for that app, but I can't pay for more than one. It's just not economical. So, but that was fun. My library has a bunch of Star Wars books, and it's like they're probably different levels of, you know, uh, quality, but they're all Star Wars. That's kind of with these TV shows. It's like I kind of want to immerse myself more into the Star Wars stuff. Some I'll like, some I'll love, some I'll think are okay, some I might not like, but it's still Star Wars. So I'm not complaining. Nothing takes away from anything that's already happened. Oh no, the Jedi are evil. No, okay, they're bad on this show. Who cares? They go watch Obi-Wan when he's fighting Darth Vader. Awesome. Um, oh no, the prequels ruined the originals. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Can you watch the original movies? Then there they are. It's just like people love to overreact, and you could just have an opinion and then go, oh, but it's a story. It's a television show. Like, enjoy it or don't enjoy it, but don't take away from other people's enjoyment. Oh, that's it, I think, my friends. So as I now sip a Coke Zero out of this because I am a wild man and I need a little extra caffeine to get this all finished. I want to thank you. I want to thank people who have found this show, maybe for Acolyte, maybe for Mandalorian, maybe for Boba, Ahsoka, Andor, uh, Boba. I said Boba. Oh, I want some Boba now. That'll keep me way up. But that's what the show is. We cover the live action Star Wars shows, and we will be back. We will be back. Now, Mandalorian and Grogu, it's going to be a movie. How can I ignore that, though? I'm going to have to do something here. But we will be back talking Skeleton Crew. Is that going to be the next live action show? I'm already trying to think of some puns that I could come up with for a show title. I don't know yet, but I know very little about this except that Jude Law's in it. That's all I know. And I feel like, is that the one that's been done for a while, but they haven't released it? That could be the Acolyte for all I know. I have no idea, but I'll be back talking Star Wars when we get to Skeleton Crew. And I have ideas to do other things here just to not, keep it so we're waiting forever. But besides the podcast, I want you to check out my website, fansnotexperts.com, because I do all kinds of other podcasts there. Maybe you'll find something you like. And if you're on YouTube, just stay subscribed because every podcast that we do gets uploaded to YouTube. Mostly it's just audio, so you can just kind of, snuggle up, close your eyes and listen to this. But sometimes you get to see all this too, and, congratulations. But that's it. I'm done. So the Acolyte is done. The Acolyte tonight is done. Will the Acolyte have a second night? I don't know, but if they do, I'll be there. All right. I was trying to bring it back to a rhyme. I feel terrible already that I did it. So I'm done. But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Mastodon.social, and Blue Sky at Geek Mentality. The Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. I already told you the YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. Some of you might already know that. And the website is fansnotexperts.com. That's it. I'm done. Season finale. See you in the future. But until then, thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And may the Force be with you.
When Disney Plus puts out a brand new Star Wars TV show, I'll watch a podcast about every episode. As you know, when they release, I'll have a brand new episode that same night, talking Acolyte.
Yep, I stayed the whole time. Okay. Bye.
Fans Not Experts.